Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and y'all, when it comes to the devastation that has happened in Los Angeles County because of these wildfires, well, Jesse Waters has some choice words on the five, and it's not going to end well for the Democrats. Let's dive in.
The condition might be, hey, you have to allow the Forest Service to do the work and tell the environmentalists to pound sand while we do this. They're not saying you're not going to be allowed to have trans policies unless you, and we're not going to give you the money unless you do. It's not like condition for something that doesn't make sense. It's like if you're asking federal taxpayers to help continue, and all of us want to help. And we not only will we help federally through our taxpayer dollars, but we will help also through our donations. You would have to say, like, can we at least make sure that there's more than one road in and out so that people can get out if there's an emergency?
Yeah, and they were going to try to expand the road, but there was a very precious piece of lettuce that the environmentalists sued and then fined a utility for touching.
Is this about fake smelt gate again, too?
There's nothing fake about the smelt.
Not
I
according to
actually
Gavin.
brought the lawsuit in last week. Maybe you already forgot, Jessica. And are you going to come on TV and say that California was well prepared and couldn't have done anything better? And this fire, no one could have put it out? Are you really going to tell people watching right now in California, the Democrats, the liberals, all the Hollywood stars that are livid at Bass and Newsom, that everything was perfect and they got this thing right? Jessica, this is such a disaster.
Will probably be recalled, but I am going to come on and read what the head of FEMA had to say, or the LA County fire chief.
Okay.
You know better than them?
I know better than to listen to you talk about facts because I have them. And here is the budget, Jessica. California state budget, Department of Forestry, fire protection. $3.3 billion last year. This year was $2.8. Look at the LA budget. Last year,
Is this the 17 million?
last year, $837 million, then $819. I'm not very good at math, but I know that's a cut.
No.
Let me tell you something else. In the 1700s, Jessica, California averaged millions and millions of lost acreage due to wildfires. Then the Americans came in, brought a little civilization, and by the end of the last century, they only lost 250,000 acres to wildfires per year. And then the environmentalists and the wackos took over. And they're back to losing millions of acres in California. These people have literally taken California back centuries, Jessica, with these stupid policies. And the thing about liberalism is that they say if you give the liberals all the power and all the money, they will create a utopia. They will create heaven on earth. Well, we've given the Democrats all the power in California. And look at it. It looks like hell. They think they can control the Earth's temperature. They can't even put out a fire in their own backyard. Look at these fact checks this guy's doing. Now, I don't care if he goes on a podcast, but look what he's saying. The fire started from a satanic ritual. They had to fact check that. Why is he wasting time doing this? This is craziness, Jessica. You can't defend this guy.
Y'all, I've said this time and time and time again. Democrats can't govern. Okay? As a general rule, that's a great policy to live by. There's a handful of cases where it actually works for them. Okay? Vermont, New Hampshire, that works for them. Washington State, that works pretty well. Granted, when the Cascadia earthquake finally hits, they're not going to be prepared for it. But that's not what we're here to talk about, because that's not fair to their policies, because they weren't aware of that potential danger. And so they built things in a way that wasn't going to sustain a major earthquake. So if they weren't aware of the danger, there's no reason to really look at these people and go, you're stupid. You deserve this. No. That's not entirely fair. However, when it comes to California, what Jesse Waters just spelled out for you is entirely fair. Look, I am a former park ranger, and I love the fact that I had the opportunity to work out there, Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota, met some great people, met people from all across the country, got to talk about one of my favorite presidents, and I got to be in our National Park Service. That is a badge of honor for me. But there was an entire division of people whose sole job it was to clean up potential fires. Now, on the grasslands, there wasn't going to be much of an issue unless there's a bad lightning storm. Lightning strikes the ground, causes a spark. There's going to be a brush fire. That's different than California. California, unlike North Dakota, has a bunch of natural forests. Hey, y'all. For the first time in American history, we now spend more on interest payments than our entire defense budget. This isn't speculation, this is mathematical reality. As Trump prepares to enter office, a showdown is brewing that could devastate unprepared Americans' retirement accounts. Here's why that matters for your money. Our national debt has exploded to $36 trillion. Every 1% increase in interest rates adds $90 billion to our current annual costs, more than NASA's entire budget in just additional interest. This creates an impossible situation. If the Fed keeps interest rates high, it crashes the economy. If they cut rates, it risks destroying the dollar. There's no middle ground here because the math simply doesn't work anymore. This is why central banks worldwide have been buying gold at record pace. In 2022 alone, they bought over 1,082 metric tons of gold. They know what's coming. Don't wait until the coming crisis becomes front-page news. Get your free guide, Fed vs. Trump, the coming battle for America's financial future. Inside, you'll discover that why this showdown could determine the fate of your retirement savings, and more importantly, how to protect yourself before it's too late. Call 1-800-861-8047 or visit AAAgold.net/brawl to get your free guide. They have a bunch of natural grasslands. Now, the grasslands, you can clear some brush here and there and don't really have to worry about it. But in the forest areas, you have to clean out that underbrush in order to make sure that the nearby town doesn't get engulfed every 5 years because there is a major wildfire that blows through because of the conditions. Is it Santa Monica winds or the Santa Ana winds? But there's a kind of weather pattern that affects Los Angeles a little bit differently than the rest of the country because Los Angeles is essentially surrounded by a small mountain chain, and that in those areas are incredibly dry except when the Humboldt Current that blows up cold water through California and until I think it reaches Alaska. I'm pretty sure that's the current. But the reason that California has such bad wildfire management is because statewide, they care about their redwoods and their sequoia trees so much that they don't clear out the underbrush. Those trees quite literally need fire to unlock the seeds from the pine cones in order for those seeds to grow new trees. That's a huge problem in California, except that's a problem in Northern California. That's a problem in the Sierra Nevada. That's not a statewide issue. As a matter of fact, those policies where you don't clear out the underbrush negatively affects the majority of the state and the state's population. So what's the real problem here? Simply put, as Jesse Waters spelled it out himself, it's rich white liberals. These people think that they're never going to be affected by Mother Nature. These people think that they have these prime housing locations that they're never going to have to worry about a mudslide. They're up to code on their earthquakes. They don't have to worry about wildfires. It's all the poor people and the rural people that they never care about. They never wonder how the food gets to their Whole Foods markets so they can buy organic. No. They don't understand the logistics of how things work, and so they enact policies, they vote for policies that basically makes everyone else either more poor or more adverse to major risks. The reason these insurance companies all bailed out of California weeks before the wildfire happened? Yeah, that's because of stupid policies and stupid legislation that basically made it impossible for insurance companies to remain operable in these areas, and now people have been screwed. They have been screwed by bad government. And so people bring this up all the time. Well, why not talk about Florida? Why not talk about their insurance problem? Yeah, Florida has an insurance problem, but the bubble hasn't bursted yet. Those insurers haven't left the state yet, and that's because Florida has gotten so good at hurricane management and getting disaster responses to those areas that this isn't a real problem. California has not learned to manage its own state, which quite literally means that Californians have lost the ability to govern themselves. That is not fair to the average taxpayer. That's not fair to the people who live there. And yet this is the government that they voted for and that they wanted. Ultimately, the problem with California is the fact that Californians have not remembered what it takes to actually govern and maintain a state. Floridians, they know how it's done because they keep on electing people that know how to manage, that know how to govern, and know how to legislate. This is the sole difference between red states and blue states. Blue states, you can say, oh, well, California is a fifth of the world's economy. It's number 5 if you were to just take California by itself and compare it to the rest of the world. It's the 5th largest economy. Congratulations. It's still a state with no middle class. It's still a state that can't even repave their own roads. Okay? And it's still a state full of people who have forgotten how to manage their own backyards. That isn't a good state to be in. That is not a good place for Americans to live. And they deserve better government. And Jesse Waters is 100% right. And Jessica can talk all she wants about, well, let's talk about other issues and let's bring up how the smelt fish is actually a giant hoax. Yeah, sure, honey. Bless your heart. That is an ultimate bless your heart kind of situation there. And that's why Californians deserve your prayers, but they also deserve good government. And it's going to be a long time before they ever see that because, simply put, they won't elect people who are actually competent and who can actually solve the issues, simply put, because they don't want their problems solved. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Politbrawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one, but make sure you keep California in your prayers.